Hello and welcome back to my channel Silk Pod, reacting to Love is Blind US Season 10, Episode 11. And this is the last episode before. No, actually, second to last episode before your reunion drop. So, shall we jump in? Can't believe that we're almost to the end of this season. That was fast. Anywho, we open up with Ash and Alex playing soccer with, I think this is Alex's dog, I don't know. And Emma and Mike getting their marriage license, and Britt and Devo, I'm just calling him Devo, I guess doing their dance practice for their wedding. Devo does give Britt a kiss here, which is nice, I guess. We're gonna move on quickly. Um, our first real date of the episode is with Bree and Connor eating on this train. A lovely date idea. Um, no drama yet. We'll talk about that later. Um, it looks like based on this date and conversation that Bree's father was accepting of Connor into the family and was actually a very lovely time. And Connor voices that he actually feels there's a lot of similar mannerisms, and surprisingly, he found more commonalities with Bree's father, and he loves how the dad sees him as just a normal guy, right? Nothing crazy. Connor refers to Bree as a boss bitch and speaks to Bree's go-getter attitude, which he absolutely loves. Bree comments that she's actually has not been her best self, which made me go, when I first saw it. Um, but we get more context later in this episode about what's really going on. Um, Connor talks about Bree's stress at work, but he loves her more each day, and that she will be a great mom. Um, yeah, love that for Connor. Well, I was until later, but anyways, Bree lists out why she loves Connor and talks about his kindness and how she feels loved. Again, things that make her feel good, but not really about Connor's character outside of the relationship. I'm not gonna dwell too much on this. Let's move on from this. We go to Emma and Mike having a zoo date and feeding giraffes. I would absolutely love this. I guess it was Mike's first time feeding giraffes. Emma shares that before having a family, she wants quality time as a married couple, and Mike agrees. But of course, the real question here is, does Emma want kids actually? Um, Mike, of course, pushes that question and wants Emma to talk more on that. And she 100% thinks that Mike is the one. And she does see a family with him. And only time will grow that feeling. All I can say at this point is fingers crossed you're not forcing yourself to change your views on kids. Because that's also just not fair on the kid, too, you know? Okay, moving on. Moving on. We're going to Diva and Brittany. They start in the hot tub and later talk by the fire pit. Um, I noticed now in retrospect, Diva does crack a lot of jokes. A lot of jokes. He talks about the good old times with the 16 dates in the pause and how fun that was. And what got me a little upset was when he referred to Brit's snoring to Godzilla. That made me go, "Excuse me? Your that's your fiance, sir, and you're gonna joke about her snoring like that?" Like, I snore and my boyfriend snores and we joke about that to each other, but um, we've been together for quite a while, so this is weird for me. Anyways, we get to Debo getting serious and talking about how the idea of marriage is weighing down on him and would like one day completely off the grid. This close to the wedding, Devo? You want to be completely off the grid? Hell no. Deal with it. Um, when Britt presses on that, which is good on her, Devo says he is 98% sure about getting married. Uh, you sure about that, Devo? I don't know how accurate that is. And Brittany, of course, says that her biggest fear is being told no at the altar, because he does plan to say yes and does obviously doesn't want to waste her family's time coming over to a wedding just for it to not really happen, you know. Um, oh God, Devo brings up more stuff. I hate that he does this. First, he talks about how at the tux fitting, sorry about my voice, that he should kiss Brit more often. And I guess this triggered Devo because it's like people are still saying something negative about him. But I mean, it is what it is, Devo. It's because you're not showing up for your woman. But anyways, Brit comments that all she said was she was wearing the dresses, was that he was a man of a few words, and that she has learned to accept that Devo is not the type to gush over her. Brit, from girl to girl, with different love languages, please do not accept that as your man. Devo then brings up prenups because of how hard we work to get to where he is. And Brittany reacts by saying she doesn't want to marry someone who feels the need to feel the need to protect himself in the marriage. Which I get where she's coming from. Um, she asks Devo, would he call off the wedding if she said no to the idea of a prenup, and Devo gives a I don't know. But he did say he would just feel more comfortable having that in place. But Britt does not need to decide right this second, but to sleep on the idea. Um, Here's the thing. My feelings around prenups have changed over time. Um, and I have divorced parents, so I can speak on this. Um, as of right now, I typically support couples getting prenups because they're typically in a good headspace to do so, so that when it comes to divorce or in the event something bad happens and the relationship just goes downhill, right? It's good to have something in place to protect both, right? Prenups should be something that protects both partners in the event that they decide to separate, right? Um, Problem number one is that Devo and Brittany have more downsides than. Wow, I'm losing my train of thought. They're having more bad moments than good moments, right? So they're not even in a good headspace, really. Even though in here it seems like they are, but no, they're not. Um, but I would say yes to a prenup for Brittany's sake too, just to have something in place to protect Brittany, right? I do have a feeling that Devo wants a prenup is probably more because he doesn't want to actually get married, um, which is an issue. Then just say no at the altar, right? Don't even talk about prenups. Um, but if they do end up saying yes to getting married, I really hope not. Brit should, in my opinion, agree to go forward with a prenup just so she protects herself as well. Because there's no way they would last if they get married. Just saying. Just saying. Just being real here. Okay, we're gonna move on to Amber and Jordan. They have a date at Otherworld, which is one of Emma's favorite spot. There's illumination stuff, uh, which I absolutely adore. And I guess it's like more like an arcade thing because I see basketball and stuff. There's a big plushie prize that's given to Amber, and she suggests that Jordan can also bring this to Emma when they finally meet, which is so damn close to the wedding. But okay, man, if that's their choice, that's their choice. Wow, that was a quick scene. We're gonna move on to Ashley and Alex having a cute cabin date with champagne. To be honest, I kind of snoozed over this convo. Like I scribbled a lot of things, but I was also like, this is oddly very boring. I think it's Alex's voice and the way he drones on and on and on, right? Alex does talk about the whole, I guess, or alludes to the whole nomadic life thing, and but he also says that Ashley may be placing the whole like placing his roots thing, that it doesn't scare him as much as he thinks, and just wants to at least travel a few times. Yeah, no, I don't believe you, dude. Otherwise, I guess they talk about places for Christmas, what they like about each other. Um, and Alex, this kind of made me kind of wake me up from my slumber. Alex compares getting married to a soccer game where you don't necessarily control the outcome, but you play the game. What the fuck does that mean? I, I don't even, I don't like that analogy. To, you're gonna compare a soccer game to a, you know what? Let me move on. Let me move on. It's so stupid. Um, Anyways, we switched to Christine and Vic. I guess that was spa or a massage day. I'm not really sure, but they're wearing that robe thing. Um, it's a quick scene, no drama. They just tell each other how much they love each other, what they love about each other. Um, they do talk about their each other's unanswered prayer. And that just made my heart sing, even though I'm not religious, but it just still made me feel some type of good feeling there. I hope this couple works. Um, all right, now let's go to the big, big bomb drop. With 2 days left before the wedding, we go to Bree and Connor. I knew this was gonna happen. I knew it was too good to be true. But Bree goes on and on and on about how great Connor is. She's not being used to being loved this way. Um, she does talk about like going to his house and seeing the car, and that perhaps if she met him in the real world, I think that's what she's alluding to. She would have judged him more harshly and assumed he was lazy and had no pride with his stuff. But she sees that Connor does care and thinks about their future. Um, and then I knew this was gonna happen, but it's still hard. She says that she can't go to the altar with a question mark. And she voices that she's not quite sure why she feels the way she does, but she can't, do that. She could just be more honest, but Cutter replies that he sees himself getting married with her, but if it's a no, it's a no. It is what it is. Um, he asked her if Bree would marry him in the future with time, and she says, "I hope so." Do not give this boy false hopes, please. Um, this is so hard for me because, I mentioned early on this season that Connor's a jokester, it's very surface level, and then to see him love this woman so much and so deeply, and and uh, and accepts her fully, and and then to see him in front of the camera crying. I don't think Connor cried on camera like that. It made me cry while watching it. Um, and he says, I guess to the crew members, thank you for the experience and blah blah blah. He tells Bree that he knows he won't run away even if they don't get married now. Uh, I don't know about that, Connor, but oh, I just wanted to hug this man. It is mm, so devastating. Poor boy. Man. Connor's a man. I should not say he's a boy, but I really do feel for him. Um, yeah, that was the only real big drama this episode, I think. Because after this, we go to the Bachelor and Bachelorettes. I barely took notes on this. The boys go to Monster Jam. I heard about this, but like as soon as I saw the big tractor and stuff, I thought I was going on that route. But then they started to play like, I guess, more sportsy stuff. And then the girls go to a casino and they're dancing or walking around with those big feathers. Um, and I was ready to end the video there. And then I realized at the end they were gonna introduce Emma and Mike's wedding. I was taken off guard. But then I realized no, they do this every season. They end the episode with the first wedding. Um, I was not ready to watch this. Obviously, Emma is already in tears. Right from the get go. She says she feels light and free with Mike. Mike's mom and sister shows up for her, which was sweet. And then eventually the mom goes to Mike. She does mention that the 3 times she called him, he gave her an attitude, I guess. I was a little curious about what that convo was about, but he just said, I'm sorry for like going off on her and that wasn't fair on her. And it's just that she just keeps calling it during a bad time. I don't know what that was about. Maybe anxieties around the wedding. But the mom seems to have come around more, and she said that she understands more about the show and the process, and that she she accepted that she will support Mike's decisions no matter which way he goes, as she should. And I'm glad she came around to that. Um, when we go to the vows, one of the things that bothered me was when during Mike's speech, he drops this comment about wanting to know about whether or not Emma truly wants us to have a family together. I don't know, it got me a little upset. But, might as well say it again. Really bring it home that that that's really what he wants. This is so bad. Oh gosh. And then when Emma hmm, I really thought Emma was gonna say no, but she ends up saying, I can't see a future without you. In my head, I'm like, oh, Emma, why? Why would you do that? Uh, we end on a cliffhanger on Mike, but I would be so surprised if he said no, but I hope he says no. And we won't know until next week, Wednesday, March 4th. So that's really the end of the episode. We have, I think, one more episode left before the reunion. Fingers crossed. Actually, fingers crossed a lot of these couples don't make it. Um, well, the only couple I really, really want is Vic and Christine, and I wish we saw more of them. But even if it's not drama, Love is Blind doesn't always need drama. It does, but you could have some more wholesomeness. But, anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you on the next one.